Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm GhostPrime. I want to take a look at the newest Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus. He is a repaint of the Kingdom Ultra Magnus from 2021 with a new head. Now this head is based on the Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus from 2012 and was a BotCon exclusive. That one, which I unfortunately don't have, was a repaint of the Generation 2 Optimus Prime from Reveal the Shield line. So it was done also in Diaclone colors, which is what this one does. What I find interesting about this one is that they did not do this as the G2 Prime, which they easily could have done it as a G2 Prime. Instead, they went with Ultra Magnus in his armor. But what's really cool about that is you can actually switch his head. He has an alternate head, which is the Delta Magnus or Powered Convoy Diaclone colors. One thing to note about that one that's actually very interesting, at least I find, is that he was originally going to be these colors in Transformers the movie. I always really enjoyed these colors. I am actually in the market for a Powered Convoy right now. I'm just kind of looking for one that's in good condition and fairly complete. They're kind of difficult to find. Remember to hit that thumbs up button, thumbs down button if you have to, comment, and subscribe. And without any further ado, let's get to the review. All right, here's the box. As you see, there is a ton of room up here. I don't know why they did that. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, you see everything in there. Luckily, these aren't in stores because my big-ass hands could fit right in there. Now, one of the things about this box, I just pulled this out of the outer packaging, and look at that. Look how warped and bent that is. There's almost nothing in it to stop this. Even the comic is bent, and that is something that's quite unfortunate. And it looks okay. It looks like the Shattered Glass. I love these colors. I like the logo. I think this is quite a nice box. I don't like how they shaped it. On the top, it says Transformers Shattered Glass. On the back, it's got Ultra Magnus with the skull head on, and you can see the blue cab right there, and it has the other head. There's a picture on the side that's kind of reminiscent of the Generation 2, the Generations one from BotCon 2012, and same picture on the other side. Not much to see on the bottom. Let me get this guy opened up, and we'll do some comparisons and talk about him a little bit. And it comes with a comic book as well. It's not quite as bent as the box, which is I'm glad. It does have a backboard, which is nice, and it did survive the journey. I don't know if I'm going to open these yet. I haven't opened any of the rest, but I do like that cover. All right, and getting into accessories, of course you get instructions. We don't need to go over that, but you do get the red version of the same sword we got with the Scourge and the Generation 2 Prime. It is in 2 pieces. It is, so you can still do all the same functionality with that. Also has a red matrix of leadership. It will decide to focus. The standard gun that comes with all of them, unpainted this time completely. That it will be a recurring theme, which I will get into. To contrast to that, this is actually painted, which does cause a problem here with the tightness in the shoulder, the peg. It also comes with a Ultra Magnus or Delta Convoy head, which is very cool, and it does have light piping, which works. And as you can do with the G2 Prime, the matrix fits on the sword like so. One of the things that I do want to point out before we even put it in his hand is this here. He cannot hold this sword because of that little peg. He cannot hold just this sword in his hand, which is a shame because his hands are fully closed, which it wasn't designed for. And you have to have him hold it like this. But it does fit in his hand because it is a 5mm peg. Fits like that. The gun will fit in his other hand. Now, these things here, because they are painted, let me get a focus, because they are painted completely, they don't fit super well in these holes. So you gotta be very careful not to stress the plastic I just kind of just barely put them in. Don't push them in all the way, and so far so good, but we'll see how long that lasts if I keep taking them out and back in. But there he is, all armed up. Here's a quick turnaround so you can just check out some of the detail on him. One of the things about his chest is, on the original, these were blue and this was more gray. But I do like that they use a nice like, kind of silver metallic plastic for a lot of these pieces that does look really good. You know, everything else detail-wise the same. You still have the bumper on the back, same as the Kingdom. So the back really isn't too much to you know, look at. But the front, he looks pretty darn good. I really do like how he looks. I love these color schemes on him. Let's get a close-up on that head sculpt. So there is the head, the new head. That is reminiscent of that Generation 2 Prime from BotCon. I think it came out really nice. I love the dark kind of gunmetal he used for his skull face. And he has, looks like he has blue painted eyes, which is interesting because it actually has red light piping. So you think that would work, right? But I can't seem to get it to work very well, which is a shame. But overall, the deco's, you know, pretty standard. You do have the purple Autobot logo there. And like I was mentioning on the chest, so I think that they really could have done is painted these silver to match this plastic, even though this is a separate piece under here that folds up. It would have been nice that all this was painted silver and the blue here, right here, to match this blue, and this was silver. It would have been a little bit more reminiscent of the actual character, but you know, overall, I think it looks decent. I think it's got the black belt, silver legs, and red on the shins. So to remove this head, you just simply pop it off. And it has a ball joint under there, as does this one. And I actually find that this one's much more difficult to put on. You probably will hear it. Boom. There we go. And it is very tight on there. But it definitely has that powered Convoy look, besides the Autobot logo. But I dig that. I really like the way that the antenna kind of makes that head, and the bright silver kind of make that head pop a bit more than the other one. I think it looks very good on there. Now I'm going to skip over articulation and transformation and get right into comparisons, because really we've been there before with this guy a couple times. So if you want to check out how this guy transforms, actually check out my Kingdom Ultra Magnus review. I go over all that in there. Otherwise, let's move forward with comparisons. There he is with the Siege Ultra Magnus and the Kingdom Ultra Magnus. And I think these two look pretty good next to each other, to be honest. But one thing I did want to make a quick mention of is this gun is painted to where this gun has no paint on it whatsoever. So that I think they could have painted that. And with that, for the last comparison, just because there he is with the Galaxy Prime. Not exactly the same, but close enough. So the removal of the armor is the same as the other one, and I'll be right back with the inner robot. So here's the inner robot, and he is done up in blue, black, and you see the silver coming through. And this is just like the original Diaclone powered Convoy that did have a blue cab. And yeah, I think he looks pretty good like this. I like these color scheme on him. A blue Prime is always really nice. And he has a black head that has yellow eyes, and he's painted right there on the faceplate and the little head crest. He's got a very faint Autobot logo, which I actually kind of don't mind. It's very hard to see. I don't mind that it's that faint because I think it really brings home that Diaclone look. So I actually appreciate that a bit. There is a couple things that I do want to note on this, which I'll get right into comparison just to point this out. Here he is with Kingdom Ultra Magnus, and one of the big things I want to point out is just the paintwork that is actually lacking on this guy. So if you look at the chest on Ultra Magnus, he has windshield wipers that are painted mostly. He's got trim around the windows. He's got his belt is painted there. And if you look at the powered Convoy, none of it's painted on the windows, nothing around here, just the silver here, and the bar. It does have the stacks painted, which is a nice touch, but the belt's not painted. Also, it really could have been painted. They should have really made this gray to match these plastic, because if you look, it is two separate pieces of plastic. And only one side of this plastic is painted, which is black, which is accurate to the toy, but this is not painted at all. And they really could have just made it two separate pieces of plastic. Maybe there wasn't any room on the sprue, but this silver would have looked really nice here. So it does have some paint differences, a little bit less paint. If you look on the side here, you can see the rims are painted, but they are not painted on Powered Convoy, which I'm just going to refer to him as that, or Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus Inner Robot. But so you see there is missing a lot of paint, and that's further noticeable by how much paint is on this guy. But of course he is more of a premium figure. I do have a review incoming on this guy, but you could really tell where the paint went, or the budget went on this for the extra weapons, even though this costs as much as this, but this one had the stand, of course, without the other things. But so I think it does kind of compare. It's just they are missing some paint on it. And I don't know if that was budgetary or a design decision. But these are pretty cool to have all together like that, yeah? All right, here he is in truck mode. So in truck mode, yeah, it is, I guess it is what it is. I never really cared for the truck mode on this. It doesn't look like a car carrier. They could have done better. I do think that this could have been kind of painted like a silvery gray color, like the gunmetal. It would have looked nice, I think, or maybe even just down here, just to give it a little bit more of that Powered Convoy or Delta Magnus sort of look. I think that would have done really well. So the configuration of the weapons, there's also 5mm ports here, where these could go in the instructions. These actually go here. I prefer them on the front, but this gun's here in the instructions. And also on the top here, you have the sword and the matrix there. You just kind of put the hilt inside the peg hole there, and that works. That looks good. If you don't want the matrix to show up at all, you can actually just stick it in the cab in robot mode or in truck mode. It's hollow. It'll kind of just float around in there. You can't actually peg it to anything, but it's something you can do if you don't want to actually have him hold the sword or anything like that. So yeah, that said, I think there should be some more paint on the cab, like the windows, maybe the lights up here. Definitely the hubcaps could use some paint. Maybe a shattered glass symbol here. But the colors are all right. I mean, it's very blue, and you can see the top is very red. For comparison, here he is with the Kingdom version. Now, I did add this Autobot logo because the shape here is supposed to invoke the Generation 1 poorly. It does have a much brighter blue and a brighter red than the regular release Kingdom. But as you can even see, there is a painted window here. Now, it is only silver, but it does help. So that would have been nice, and maybe some different lights, not just silver. But I digress. It looks okay. Although the 10 base one does actually have all that painted. But this one is sort of a premium quality figure. There's the 3 Earth modes together. So I'm kind of a sucker for Ultra Magnus. I love these color schemes. I missed the Masterpiece, so I'm getting this one. And I can't decide whether to keep this head or the Diaclone one on, because both are beautiful to me. I really like this color scheme for Ultra Magnus. So in that regard, I'm kind of biased. I do like this one, but I can't give it a full recommend to everyone, because it only matters if you're collecting Diaclone or Shattered Glass. This has been done since 2019. I mean, with the very first Ultra Magnus from Siege. Check out that video if you want to. It's very old. I got a better one for Kingdom. It's been done. This is something that's been done. You're not getting anything new. There's been a ton of these. But it kind of holds up. Thanks for stopping by and watching my video. Totally appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next review.